Hello everyone and welcome back to some more NASCAR Heat 5 Custom Championship Season without the playoffs. If you've somehow stumbled upon this video and you haven't seen the 10 prior episodes, feel free to check out the description down below for a link so you can catch up in the entire playlist. But we are now officially past the 1/3 marker of the season, still a very competitive championship, and we're moving to a racetrack that I think I could have a pretty good chance at winning at, so let's go ahead and get started. How much you want to bet I somehow qualify in like 19th or 20th place, just because that's apparently the only places we really can qualify? Well, would you look at that? I mean, I wasn't far off. 25th, that's actually worse than normal, but hopefully we can move our way forward, because that's not a great position to be in. And then looking at the qualifying results, we can see that Cole Custer, actually, good for him. He picks up the pole, but then, of course, right behind him, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, Truex, Newman, all of our big competitors in the championship. Really not doing us any favors, but let's see what we can do. All right, so here we go. Green flag here at Richmond. Let's see if we can get off to a good start. We are starting a few positions higher than normal, of course, because we actually had some pretty big names, I think, fall to the back. I want to say Denny Hamlin was actually one of them, which does help us out a lot, but chances are his AI is going to be quick enough to redeem himself very quickly here. We have just enough fuel to make it through the entire race without pitting, so it's all going to be down once again to whether or not our tires can last that long, and also depending on if a caution flag comes out, which being on a road course, or not a road course, being on a short track, what I meant to say, you never know what could happen. We can get a caution pretty easily. That being said, we made it through the entire race at Bristol with nothing happening despite all the chaos that ensued there, so you can never be too sure what's going to happen. Okay, so we're going to basically take it 3 wide with Bowman, and I think that's Priest on the outside. Probably not the smartest idea, but you know what? We're going to somehow pull it off. This car does seem very tight. I have it basically in the middle notch between loose and tight on the default setups, but I probably should have loosened it up another notch or 2 even, because I am having to get really slow in the corners to actually get the car to turn. That's not great by any means. It also does mean that our right front tire is probably going to be very unhappy by the end of this race, and hopefully that is not something that's going to keep us from actually making it the whole way without stopping, so we might be reliant on some kind of caution come out for us to actually do that. But let's not get too ahead of ourselves. We are still very early on in the race, only a 10th of the way through, so a lot of things could happen, as we are now chasing down Austin Dillon and then our teammate running in a pretty decent spot up here in 18th place. Could be much worse, could also be a bit better. Also, just looking at the minimap, it looks like Cole Custer has just checked out from the field already. I can't really see anybody right next to him on the track ahead of me because he's a bit too far away for us to actually see very well. We just completely abandoned that corner. That was not great at all. Ross Chastain's going to come by and pass us as a result. That was miserably bad. But yeah, one thing I wanted to actually point out about this track, as I continue to get worse, this is not going well for us. I probably should have loosened the car up. This could be pretty unfortunate. Is that I remember in the past, if you got loose here in turns 3 and 4, and you cut down just a tad there, it would count as being on pit road, and you would get a speeding penalty, and or it would just drag you in to pit road, and you'd also get a speeding penalty, so you just get penalized either way. I'm hoping that doesn't happen today. I don't want to test it out. I probably should have tested it out before I actually got into the race to see if that would happen. But it used to be where if you just went a bit too low on this yellow line, where the actual, cut-in starts there for the pit road cutoff, where like the orange boxes, you could just have your entire race ruined. I know when I raced in a league here in NASCAR Heat 3, that was a thing, because I was like racing for 2nd place or so, and then that happened, and then all of a sudden, you find yourself 2 laps down with nothing you can do about it, because the game doesn't know how to actually, qualify whether or not you actually intended to come into pit road or not. So hopefully we can avoid that. Okay, so far this car is definitely not great. It just does not have any speed in the middle of the corner, because we have to get on the brakes pretty heavily and or way off the gas to actually get this car to turn. We're already about a 5th of the way down on our tires, which means it's going to be close. We're going to have to probably let off a bit in order for our tires to sustain through the entire race, which is not a good thing considering we're already struggling to really get in the top 20. So, okay, so that was basically what I was talking about. You don't want to clip that orange box, because you never know what's going to happen if the game's going to be really lenient. Also, I'm entering these corners far too shallow, which is definitely my own fault. I should not be doing that. If we're going to burn our right front off, we don't want it to be because I'm taking the corner poorly. We want it to be because the cars are just a bit too tight in general. All right, let's go ahead, hunt down Ricky Stenhouse up here. Once again, having a better race than he has for most of the season, but still not exactly having the season I'm sure he would hope for. Cole Custer, you know, the guy that we've been having a lot of issues with so far this season, have had a lot of run-ins with that guy. It really does seem like he's just checked out from the field. I don't think there's anybody else near him, and he's already up to, like, what is that? That's probably like a 3 or 4 second lead, and it's only been, you know, a bit over 10 laps. But he does have to go through lap traffic. This is going to be not quite on the same level as Bristol, I'm sure, because Bristol, there was just so much traffic. This track, of course, a little bit bigger, so hopefully it's not as big of an issue and I don't just gain a bunch of free spots because of that. But if we do, you know what, I'm not going to say no, because of course we are kind of struggling and we need any help we can get if we really want any chance of fighting for the championship. And as we look behind us, actually, Denny Hamlin has now moved up to 22nd. So I'm pretty sure he started like dead last, because I did see him in the little opening sequence. He had some kind of penalty or whatever, so he had to start at the rear of the field. And he's already basically caught up to us, so that does not bode well for our chances. Okay, so we have now made it to the rear bumper of Bobby Carter, and I've been reading a lot of people's comments and just like comments on other like forum threads and whatnot regarding Bobby Carter being in the game. What do you guys think? Are you guys like upset that there's a fantasy driver in this game? Because honestly, I mean, I can understand the outrage over it, considering they could have easily put an actual Cup driver in the field instead of this guy. But you know, I don't see like it being a huge deal. I would have preferred, you know, they put somebody like Brennan Poole or somebody that's actually made starts that actually exists. You know, would have definitely preferred that. But I don't think it's like the end of the world. Of course, it is something that I hope they don't make a habit of, because I don't really see the reasoning behind why they could put a fictional character in, but for some reason they couldn't get the rights to put somebody that's an actual driver in the game. Okay, so we are right on the rear bumper of Daniel Suarez now, who also has been having a really good season, honestly. For being in a car that's, you know, really not good, he's putting on a pretty good performance. We are kind of slowly trying to keep up with Ricky Stenhouse up here, as well as our teammate, Bubba Wallace. He's actually moving up the field a bit. We're not really moving up too quickly, but we are slowly but surely passing some of these like mid-20th place cars that are probably going to fall back a little bit. But if we look behind us, it looks like Cole Custer's already making pretty good progress on the lap cars. There's a good chance he's going to lap us, actually. Actually, if there's no caution, I don't see any reason why he wouldn't, unless he gets really held up by the lap traffic. But he's just on an absolute mission. This guy's going to destroy the field today. That seems to be his entire plan. As my car got a bit out of shape there, coming out of that corner. We don't want to do that. I am kind of pushing the car a bit much. I need to be careful about that. I can definitely get probably a top 15 at the very worst out of this. I just have to make sure I don't overdrive the car, because as soon as the tires start to fall off, it's going to be that much harder. And if I keep pressuring the car in the corner, it's just going to, you know, cause me to make more mistakes, which is going to lose us more time, and it's also going to burn off the tire even quicker. Okay, so we somehow just did my best lap ever, despite I'm pretty sure I was being pretty conservative there. We are now to the inside here of Chris Buescher. Make a bit of contact, but you know what? That's completely fine. This is a short track, so that is basically what's expected out of you.
All clear.
All right, we're kind of keeping up with the Stenhouse here and Bubba Wallace. Pretty big gap to the next cars ahead of them. I can't tell exactly who that is. I want to say it's Matt Kenseth. It looks like the 42. And we'll see if we can get up there, or if we're just going to be stuck battling for basically the very edge of the top 15. We also now have Denny Hamlin right on our tail. That is not good. He's going to probably get past us. I just don't think we have the speed to really put up a fight, so I'm probably just going to let him by here and see if I can use him to try and move forward here. I don't think we're really that much faster, or if we're even faster at all, than Stenhouse or Bubba Wallace up here. But maybe we can try and follow him through. It's probably not going to work out, but both of them are side by side, so that should hold him up a little bit. But also, yeah, let me know. So I kind of mentioned this at the end of the last video, how Richmond's kind of my new home track. What do you guys think? Do you guys consider your home track, or like whatever, if you were a natural racer, would you consider your home track to be the track that you grew up next to? Or would you consider it the track that you currently live closest to? I feel like I've seen it interpreted both ways in NASCAR, or, you know, if you're Martin Truex Jr., just everything is considered your home track in some way. I don't know why, but that's what the meme was for a year or two. But I mean, I used to live like probably an hour and a half away from Homestead Miami Speedway, so I used to always consider that like my home track. But now I don't live in Florida, and Richmond's like the closest track to me. I don't really consider it a home track, but I am, you know, a lot closer to it than I ever was to Homestead Miami. But I don't know, I grew up like in Florida, so I still kind of consider that to be my home track. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think it's supposed to be where you grew up, or do you like tend to just say wherever you're actually currently living? That is what you would consider to be your home track. As Brendan Gaughan, 40th place. He's about to be lapped a second time, actually, because Cole Custer's not far off of us now. All right, we didn't catch him in the best spot because we weren't able to keep our momentum. Also, we just completely botched that corner. That's not something you want to do. Corey LaJoy, I don't know if he's on the lead lap. I want to say he's not. If he is, he does seem to be pretty far off the pace, which would be good for us for getting position, but pretty confident. Yeah, he's definitely not. He's a lap down. So we're starting to make our way through lap traffic, which means we're just going to be held up even more when we're already trying to escape Cole Custer, who just, for some reason, seems to be running a different package than everybody else. I don't know, maybe they gave him the 750 horsepower package and everybody else he was running like the 550 or whatever. But he just, I don't know how far he actually is ahead. There's a chance he's just barely ahead of second place. But at least before he caught up to the lap traffic, it really seemed like he was just pulling out to a completely different zip code than everybody else. I haven't really witnessed that so far in this game, where the leader just absolutely destroys the competition, let alone it being somewhat random like this. I don't know if, maybe they buffed Cole Custer here for some reason, but it's kind of weird. He is now basically right on our tail. There's a wreck going on the backstretch. Clint Boyer's on the, okay. That was, we just about slaughtered our own teammate. We had to slam on the brake and swerve to the left. Clint Boyer's basically dead, and there's no caution. You gotta love this game. I don't know what's going on with the cautions. I've played like other games, like not while recording, and you'll see people just spin out and the caution will come out. You see Clint Boyer go head on into the wall and then back up into the field, and he's, completely fine apparently. Well, I mean, he's basically out of the race. Like, you can see him going down pit road now, but usually you would expect some kind of caution to come out for that, as we're not gonna go 3 wide with a lapped car, 2 lap cars, and our teammate on the outside. And we're gonna somehow make it stick. That was pretty sketchy. And then immediately I'm gonna overdrive the next corner, and Bubba's gonna go back to our inside. We're still kind of just struggling to really battle for the edge of the top 15 here. There's a chance. I do see Matt Kenseth starting to slowly fall back here, but I don't know if that's just because, Clint Boyer basically became a roadblock there for no reason. Also, Cole Custer basically right behind us now, so, there's no teammates when you're trying to stay on the lead lap, because if a caution comes out right now, you don't want to be the guy that's stuck lap down. But we're not going to really be able to put up much of a fight here. It really just seems like he's that much faster than us. And he's in first place. I'll be curious to see if we see second place come by relatively shortly, or if Cole Custer's just absolutely demolishing everybody else in this race. And we have, what is that, 16-ish laps to go. We're going to be off by 1 now because obviously we're lapped down. But we should definitely have the fuel, obviously, because we have 1 less lap that we have to complete now. That is one upside, I guess. But our tires are now at 40%. I think we're fine. Again, they're not going to be very happy by the time we get to the end of the race, but, they don't have to be happy. They just have to be alive and in one piece. Okay, Cole Custer's now putting down Hall of Famer Quinn Houff. 1 lap down, running in 34th, honestly. A bit better than I think his AI generally runs, so he can't be too upset, although I think that is now his 2nd lap down. There's going to be a lot of cars, actually, probably maybe even 3, maybe 4 laps down. I don't know if he's going to get that far, but I'm kind of impressed if that happens here, because there was only a few cars 4 laps down at Bristol, where you would definitely expect there to be more lap traffic and more cars just constantly falling off the pace. But maybe Cole Custer's car is just on steroids or something, because I can't explain it. I'm really curious. If there's no caution, I'm kind of hoping there isn't at this point, just because I'm really curious how far ahead he can actually be by the time the race is over. Maybe he's going to lap all but, like, I don't know, the top 5 or 6. Also, in the meantime, we have now caught up to Tyler Reddick and Matt Kenseth, who do seem to have slowed down a little bit. I'm definitely catching up to them. I think this, once again, is because, like, the more grip on the tires, which I'm okay with. Let's just, argue for argument's sake, let's just say, hey, our car's always, meant for the long run for some reason. I'm completely okay with that, just because otherwise, like I said, our car would be struggling to finish anywhere decent, and I don't think that would be very entertaining. All right, we're going to dive into the inside here a little bit. Our teammates are also going to try and follow us, as we got Chad Fincham trying to hold us down to the inside. He didn't give us a whole lot of room there. Not very friendly on his part. All right, I'm definitely trying to overdrive these corners, because Bubba Wallace, he's got some speed that came out of nowhere. He's basically right on our bumper in all these corners, and I don't want to give up the inside, because then you got to work your way back around them yet again. All right, to the inside of the Daytona 500 winner, into the bumper of David Reagan, who's just a lot slower in the middle of the corner and then gets a big burst of speed. I'm pretty sure Chase Elliott's a lap down. He's not been having a good season at all in this playthrough. Kind of unfortunate. I'm pretty sure he was supposed to start towards the front, and then he also had some kind of penalty, so he had to start towards the back. But unlike Denny Hamlin, he has not recovered in the slightest. He's like still outside the top 30. Whereas Denny Hamlin's now like in the top 10 and or on the verge of being on the top 10. Another person who I think has not been doing all that well, Alex Bowman. I'm pretty sure he's still in the top 10 in points. But that's like, this will be the third or so race in a row where he has like an outside the top 25 finish, I think. So that's obviously going to kill his chances of competing for the championship. But he had been doing pretty well at the start of the season. I don't really know what's happened. Maybe it's just because, you know, short tracks he's not good on, and then maybe he just got unlucky at Texas, although I don't exactly recall where he finished there. Okay, we are now down to the final 5 laps. We are still closing in on Matt Kenseth and potentially on Ryan Newman. I don't think we're on pace for a top 10, but I think a top 15 is not the end of the world. Again, we're going to lose a lot of spots on Denny Hamlin and especially Kyle Busch at this point because he started up towards the front. But I still don't think I've seen second place come by. So Cole Custer might just be off to the most dominant win so far this season. I say that he is stuck behind the slap traffic up here. He hasn't really made a whole lot of progress. So it could have been far worse, but he's now stuck on the outside. We'll see if we can actually get around them. Okay, diving to the inside, Matt Kenseth. We got Brendan Gaughan also holding him up, so we're going to cleanly pass him. And then Ryan Newman, again, we came into this race tied in points, I believe. So whichever one of us finishes higher will be ahead of the other after this race. Not that it matters too much. Again, obviously neither of us are the points leaders, but you do have to be ahead of everybody, so why not put yourself ahead of at least one more driver while you can? All right, white flag. Our tires should hold on for the final lap, I would hope. Joey Logano's the next car up. He's a second and a half ahead, so we're definitely not going to get to him. But coming to the line, can we get past Ryan Newman? We don't exactly have the speed in the middle of the corner. I'm just going to keep in the gas. We're going to get up into him. And you know what? We're going to steal away a 12th place finish. It could have been worse. Could have been a lot better. At the end of the day, I think it's perfectly acceptable. Okay, so now taking a look at the official race results, we can see that first of all, Denny Hamlin somehow made it all the way up to second place, despite starting, I'm pretty sure, dead last. So, honestly, he's got to be the favorite to win the championship because that's just insane. This was the best chance for me to make up points on him, and he almost won the race. I say almost, but of course you can look and see Cole Custer absolutely destroyed the field. You can see, what is that, a 7.5 second difference? That's just incredible. And then you see that 2nd through 10th were only, you know, a few seconds apart, so that would probably explain why Denny was able to get past everybody, because they were all basically in one tiny little pack, probably held up by a lapped car. And then speaking of the top 10, only those 10 cars even finished on the lead lap, so basically everybody else, you know, we tried our best, but unfortunately was not enough. And then going all the way down to the bottom, you can see where your favorite driver finished. And then Clint Boyer, of course, because he had a DNF. And then moving on to the point standings after this race, you can see that Denny Hamlin does just extend his lead. He is now 52 points ahead of us. We are 4th place in points, now in sole possession of 4th place in points because we are now 1 point ahead of Ryan Newman. Big difference that really makes. But you can look at the rest of the top 10. Unfortunately for Cole Custer, who absolutely dominated this race, basically better than any other driver has so far in this season, he's struggling a little bit. He's back here 21st in points, in between Daniel Suarez and right ahead of the legend Bobby Carter himself. So he's not going to be competing for the championship, that's for sure, but that's probably a race to be remembered. Hold on 1 second. This will probably explain how Denny got second place. Fastest lap, 7.7 seconds. Excuse me? I know you've got like 10,000 races of experience, Denny, but I'm pretty sure that's cheating. That's also just the game being weird with lap traffic. So, you know, hey, that's unfortunate, especially because it helped out our points leader, which we would like to gain points on. But we'll have to just deal with it. Not the end of the world, but that is kind of a bummer. I'm pretty sure he wasn't actually in second place, but the game just kind of glitched the way that the game handles lap traffic. Also, Cole Custer, 52 laps led. I'm pretty sure that's like the entire race. So, once again, absolute domination on his part. But anyways, guys, that will wrap it up for this video. If you have made it this far and you have enjoyed, please consider leaving a like and subscribing if you're new around here and you've somehow stumbled upon this video first out of all of them. You know, I don't question the YouTube algorithm. Crazy things can happen. But as you can see, next race we're heading over to Talladega, which, yeah, that'll be an experience. It's always an interesting time whenever you go to the super speedways. So feel free to check into that. Until then, hope you have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you all in the next one.